We got Skinny Vinny here.
What's going on, man?
Thank you for coming in. I appreciate your time.
No problem. Anytime, man.
So,
Anytime.
so what are you up to these days, man?
Uh, I'm working, trying to be a normal guy, but in the background, trying to chase my dreams as well.
So where
So
where are you working right now?
right now, I'm working for a company called BG. We're a chemical company that services dealerships, maintains them, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do.
So when you say chemical company,
Yeah.
what do you mean chemical
So,
chemical company?
any fluid that goes into the vehicle, brake fluid, power steering, fuel induction, additives, things like that, that keep the car, up to par. And what it does is it builds revenue for the service departments in the dealerships. So that's the main thing.
So what you make the chemicals for the products?
The
The,
company
the
does.
company does.
BG does.
Okay, BG does. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because
So basically, BG is like it's a scientific chemical company that produces its own chemicals and then they sell it to dealerships, mostly dealerships. It can be little small independents or whatever. But the main goal is to generate revenue for the service departments of dealerships. So, for instance, if you go get your car service, they're going to try and sell you tires, they're going to try and sell you alignments, they're going to try and sell you brake flush. So, when that comes into play, right? They have to sell you fluid. So the brake fluid, that goes into your car is where we come in.
okay,
So,
so
yeah.
so you're working for the company that makes the chemical to make the brake fluid and so on and so
Yes.
forth.
Yes. So
Okay.
we have a huge corporate contract with AutoNation. That's our biggest customer. So that's my main concern is representing them, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do because, higher ups, they're like, make sure all the AutoNations are selling our chemicals so that they make money.
Yeah, AutoNation's huge.
They're a big company. And in South Florida, they have the most AutoNations in the whole entire country. So,
Wow.
yeah. So I have almost 17 AutoNations myself that I have to maintain.
Now, when you say maintain, what do you mean maintain?
So basically, I have to go to the service directors, service managers, service advisors, and make sure that you know, they know how to sell the chemical. They know what to say to the customer when the customer walks in. um, and try and make the sale. So that's my job. Make sure the service director and the manager are doing what they're supposed to do, which is holding the advisors accountable for selling product. Because car dealerships don't really make money on selling cars anymore. They make money in the service area. That's 75% of their revenue is selling, something to the customer.
So the
So,
revenue is like the oil change, the brake pads, the rotors,
yes,
stuff like that.
yes,
That's where the revenue's at.
that's the biggest revenue for a car
Not
dealership.
not really on the vehicle itself.
No, their
No.
main concern is just pushing metal. That's it. They just manufacturer makes the metal, they push the metal, and then the retention rate is where, they're making the money. Every 10,000 miles they're getting their oil changed, etc.
So
So,
now, like when I go to an AutoNation, I see like a million cars. How do they get all those cars?
to be honest, I mean, I can't tell you. They have the most capital in any company as far as car dealerships go. So manufacturers are always looking for AutoNations to push cars. So
Who's behind them? Because
who's
I would think that they have to be an umbrella of somebody, right? To have that kind of capital.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they started as a small company,
Right.
with just a few dealerships like everyone does. But the method behind the madness, I don't know. I couldn't tell you how they got that big, but they are the biggest. And we have other dealerships too, like private, like Ed Morris. Um, we're trying to work on Rick Case, which they're smaller dealership groups, but I have private dealerships as well that I maintain.
Aren't they Honda? Are they Honda?
What?
Isn't Rick Morris Honda?
No, Rick Case.
Rick Case.
They're Honda, Acura, Kia. It's Rick Case is just the dealership group, just like AutoNation.
Okay.
So Rick Case is their separate entity, and they have 15 dealerships or whatnot.
Okay.
Ed Morris has, I don't know, 40, 50, something like that.
So is AutoNation a lot of like auction cars?
No, all brand new,
Really?
Yeah, brand new vehicles, used vehicles, but I mean, you can even go and sell your car to AutoNation and they resell it, but not auction. No,
Do,
it's
like if I go sell my car to AutoNation, do they give you a good deal, or they kind of?
it's
I
just
mean, I
like
know you got to be careful because you work for them,
it.
but
No, I don't work for AutoNation. I work for BG, which represents AutoNation. I don't work for AutoNation, but you can't get good deals on cars these days, man. It's not possible. Like they don't negotiate anymore. It's not like it used to be. They have to sell it at a certain price and they act like you're getting the best deal, but
it
you're
doesn't work that way.
it doesn't work that way
Okay,
anymore.
so now how would you compare it to say before when you were in the business to now? Like, you said like it doesn't work that way anymore. So like what is the difference between before and now?
To be honest, I've only been in this business for almost 2 years. So it's hard for me to say, what it was like back then. But nowadays, the manufacturers just produce so many cars that they're just trying to push them. And, it's they have a set price and that's the price you're going to pay. They might act like you're getting a good deal. Oh yeah, we got $5,000 off of this Chevy Cobalt. But really it's like that's the price anyway. So,
Right. They
yeah.
play they kind of manipulate it.
Yeah, that's going to be the price no matter what. So,
So in this industry, what would you say is probably the top selling car right now?
wow, man. Toyotas,
Yeah,
Hondas, the Asian they have that on lock. Definitely.
they last
Definitely.
forever.
They do. They do. They're the best cars to purchase for sure.
Yeah, they're built like machines. They don't break. They don't have electrical problems. They don't.
And nowadays like Infinity is made by Nissan and things like that. So, it's all just becoming a monopoly. Volkswagen owns Porsche, Audi.
Oh, I know.
So, it's like
Listen, I'll tell you something. Back in the day, right?
mhm,
I had a Lamborghini and a Bentley, and excuse me. Prior to that, I had Volkswagens. When I was growing up, everybody wanted the GTI and everything. And then I went and I think it was I forget what year it was, but I bought a Jetta,
yeah,
more luxury.
yeah,
And this car left me on the side of the road time after time. I had the car, I had a GTI, and I had a Jetta. And this freaking car, okay,
they're
at like
fast, man.
yeah, but they're fat. Well, it
They
was
can
it
be
was
tuned up to be super fast. Those Jettas, man.
yeah, but you got to do all that custom work and get
Yeah.
get the what was it? When I at my time it was called New Speed. I don't know
Okay.
what it's called now. Do you know New Speed?
No, that's probably super old time.
Okay, so when I well,
Just
yeah,
kidding.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
you asshole. So when I was growing up, like everybody had like News Speed on top of their windshield, and that
hmm
meant like your GTI was fast. I had this friend Braden, great guy, Braden Wolf. Shout out to him, good guy, one of the best guys I ever met,
hmm
and best of luck to his family, by the way, if he sees this. And we would have News Speed stickers on and all this shit, and you get the exhaust, you get this, you get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mama. Well, then I don't know what they did, but they changed something. I think they started making them here, and I bought a Jetta. No, first I bought the GTI,
hmm
broke down. Not engine, but electrical problems. Left me on the side of the road, turnpike. I said, okay, maybe it's just a bad car. Got rid of that, got a Jetta. Same thing happened, right? I said, I am never, ever in my life going to ever get anything that has to do with the Volkswagen in the world. Okay.
they've been under a lot of scrutiny as well. Like a lot of companies, but Volkswagen was really under the eye because of they did something with like the emissions. It was like a huge thing. You can go on Netflix and look it
Yeah.
up.
What did they do?
They basically just rigged these sensors to let off less emissions when really they were just faking it,
Right.
which was like um it was a huge deal when they were trying to, like control the emissions that were leaving the vehicles. And, Jetta was talking about how they, or not Jetta, Volkswagen was talking about how they did it, blah, blah, blah. And then They just
So they just manipulated the
they
emissions to
manipulated the tests.
satisfy.
There's tests in California that are supposed to be done, and they manipulated them, and then you know, they were caught, and then they had nothing to say about it because they're worth, insane amounts of money. And, just like any other huge corporation, they get away with murder,
Yeah.
24/7.
So
So,
in Pennsylvania, where I grew up, and at the time when I was buying Volkswagen, you needed an inspection sticker and then you needed an emission sticker. You needed both. Down here in Florida, you don't. Other places, you don't.
right.
So I'm sure that's where that came in. So, fast forward in my life, I make it. I have a couple big companies, right? And I get a Bentley,
Hmm.
and I open up
Nice
the.
upgrade from a Volkswagen.
Well, I mean, this is years and years later and a lot of
Yeah.
work. And I get the Bentley and I pop the hood because you wouldn't. That's not a car you drive every day. You know what I mean? So I used to have to put a charger to it
Hmm.
because it say charge the battery. I don't know if it's true or not, but I just did it because it was expensive.
Right.
I pop the hood and I look at it and I see Audi. Am I saying that right? Audi. I always say it wrong.
I mean, that's like, tomato, tomato.
The
Audi, Audi, yeah.
Audi, Audi. Okay.
Yeah.
And then next to it, it says Volkswagen. And I said, you gotta be kidding me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Volkswagen makes Bentley. So I go, oh shit, I'm gonna have problems with this thing, right?
Yeah, but
So now I get rid of that one and I get a newer one. Same thing. And I'm just hoping that it doesn't say Volkswagen. Well, then I get two Lamborghinis. I couldn't believe it. I looked at the engine, it said Audi. And Audi makes
yeah.
Volkswagen.
Yeah.
And my father had bought a lot of Audis, and he bought Audis and BMWs, and he probably will never admit this, but he had more electrical problems with his BMWs than you can count. And then he bought the
They're the
Audi
worst,
for
man.
my stepmother, and I mean, it was transmission went, this one. The only thing that didn't go was the freaking engine.
The electrical is going to be a huge issue when it comes to BMWs. That's like the main thing.
Why is that?
To be honest, I'm not sure. But all I know is that when it comes to like the question of BMW and Mercedes, I mean, a lot of people go Mercedes because if they know cars, as BMWs are, they will have electrical problems after 45,000 miles.
Is that about 40,000 miles?
Yeah, that's about, when it starts. When it starts. Because I just got a Cadillac, and because I'm on the road so much, I've put an insane amount of miles on it. And Cadillac, it's been okay. It's treated me okay, but I was thinking about getting a BMW. And one of my best friends who's grown up with BMWs is like, don't get it.
Yeah, you're out of your mind.
Don't get it. Unless it's a lease,
Yeah,
don't.
I can see a lease.
Yeah.
At least because it's protected under warranty, right?
Yeah.
Now,
To
does
an extent,
AutoNation
but
give a warranty?
yeah, every car dealership. Yeah. It comes from
But
the manufacturer. Doesn't come
so
from
you don't have to buy it
AutoNation.
extra.
Well, you have to buy when the warranty's up, you can buy an extended warranty. Yeah.
Okay. So now you're saying you're traveling all over the place.
Yeah, man.
So what are you doing traveling?
Well, my territory is from Pompano to Key West,
Phew.
which is big. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Actually,
and for people that don't know, like Pompano to Key West, I mean, I know how far it is,
it's
but
like fucking, yeah, like 4 hours.
4 hours, right? Phew.
At least, probably, yeah.
And
But
that's with lucky traffic.
I don't really go to Key West. There's not many
No,
dealerships down there. No, no. Homestead is really like the furthest that I've been.
that's Fort Lauderdale.
No, Homestead is like past Miami, down there,
Oh,
way south. Yeah.
so you're going from Pompano to Homestead?
Yeah, yeah.
How long does that take?
Well, I'm an independent contractor. So I wake up and plan my own day accordingly, right? I just have to get done what I have to get done. So I don't wake up and go to Pompano and then to Homestead. One day I'll go to Pompano and then the next day, I'll go to Homestead. So,
So when you're working for this company, right? So you don't have like a set schedule. It's kind
no.
of like what you have to get done.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
I
it
just
salary or a scale job?
I started on salary, but now I'm on commission. So it's guaranteed commission because basically we have a corporate contract, so they have to order. They're our company, so they order no matter what every week. They have to order.
The
Yeah,
chemicals.
yeah.
Okay, so now if you don't get the sale, you don't make anything.
No, no, but I'm guaranteed to get the sale though because
But you just said you were on salary and now you're on
right,
commission only.
right.
So if a sale doesn't go through, you don't get paid.
Well, it doesn't it works kind of like that, but I mean, customers come into dealerships every single day, right? And they need brake fluid, they need power steering, they need, things to maintain the vehicles. So if we have a contract or an agreement, right? I'm going to make money no matter what.
Now, what would you say right now is the biggest company, car company,
Chemical company or car
car
company?
company? Because you're dealing with all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to say, but probably Toyota.
Yeah, Toyota.
I would say, yeah. Yeah.
And then, like out of like the higher end, like Mercedes, Porsche, Lamborghini, Bentley, after this COVID thing, are they still doing good or are they getting killed?
So during the COVID thing was like a huge crisis because everybody didn't want to leave the house,
Right.
but it was considered an essential business, so they stayed open. So, I guess they were okay. They weren't that great, but I guess some people wanted to go get their car serviced during COVID. I don't know. But I worked through the whole thing. I didn't stop one day because of COVID, which is a good thing and a bad thing, I guess, because, you could maybe get sick, out there making money. But
Now, so COVID has really affected your business or kind of, or
for,
actually, you know what I want to ask you
hmm.
is how has that affected AutoNation? Because they're so big,
So AutoNation had to cut a lot of employees
really.
because business slowed down. A lot of employees. A lot of people had to, they got put on furloughs and then they never came back type thing. So there was a lot of intense feelings going on in the AutoNation world at that point in time.
Now, would
Um,
they when that was going on, would they allow when you're going to make a sales pitch? Basically, that's what you're doing, right?
well, if I walk into a dealership that we don't have, right? Like, let's say there's a dealership right down the street and they don't have, any chemical company in there, then I'd go and make a sales pitch. But to the customers that we already have, I just go in and make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do and, you know,
Th-
selling.
That's what I never knew that. So you're selling the chemicals to these companies
Mm-hmm.
for the brake fluid, the oil, and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I
Yeah.
didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. A
Yeah.
lot of people they walk in and they're like, "Hey, I, need an oil change." And it's like, "Okay, well, they
And
don't
you're
ask
kind of the
anything
one
else."
behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, yeah.
So like when you go and you get like mobile, what's the big mobile? Like
Well,
like the
Mobile One,
yeah,
Castrol, yeah,
yeah, the one
synthetic.
that goes in the Mercedes and those other cars.
Yeah, so we don't sell oil necessarily. We sell like the additives that go in with the oil. And basically it comes with like a $4,000 in protection. So if you put our additive in with your oil change, then you're covered if something were to happen to your car.
Oh wow! So they're putting like the mobile synthetic in it, and then they're adding your additive to it.
Yes, yes.
Oh wow! Okay,
Hmm.
all right, now I understand.
Yeah,
And that's your pitch when you go to these places, right?
100%. The lifetime protection warranty is like the biggest thing.
Now, is that
Yeah,
a big benefit to have that additional chemical in there?
definitely. Not
Really?
only does it make the car run better, but if something were to happen, you're covered, you know?
Now, like a lot of people ask me, like on a Mercedes, it's like A, B, C, D, E. On a Porsche, it's like okay, you need a oil change in 20,000 or 20 miles or whatever it is.
Yeah.
How accurate is that time? Even on a Honda, you know what I mean, or whatever car. How accurate would you say, from being in the business, is that time period in your opinion?
It depends what state that you're in,
No, I'm
right?
saying for the car's health.
So it all depends on what like actual demographic that you're in, right? Florida has a lot of heat, a lot of stop and go traffic, right? So when a manufacturer gives a general, say you need your oil change every 10,000 miles, our studies, because we make the chemicals in house, BG, show that you might need it sooner than that in some states, right? Because the driving conditions are worse. So the manufacturer is not giving you, you know, the mileage per se, right? For every single state. They're just giving a general. So like Toyota, you don't have to change your coolant for 100,000 miles, supposedly. But we know that you should change it every 30,000 miles.
The coolant?
Yeah.
What about a Honda?
I don't know. I think Honda, I want to say, is like they recommend every 60,000 miles, but we recommend every 30.
And you're the one adding the chemical to make it last longer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Our fluids.
Now, what about like an oil change in like a Honda or a Toyota? Like say you get one that's like a 2010 to 2020, right?
Right?
Remember, it used to be like what every 3,000 miles you need an oil change, and now
Yeah.
the companies are coming out with well every 10,000 miles, every 20,000 miles. Do you think they're just stretching it, or
Well,
are they build things differently where it actually is that long?
they don't ever want to stretch it because the quicker the customer comes in, the more money they make. So, um, it just all depends on the manufacturer. It just depends. There's so many variables in that business. It's a rough business. It is knowing which, what to say where. Like my Mercedes stores, they don't sell as much as my other stores because a lot of people are on lease and prepaid maintenance. So they can't, the customer just comes in, yeah, do my oil change. I don't want anything else. When really we know if you do the other things that your car's going to last longer, but they don't care.
Yeah, I think a Mercedes is like every 20,000 miles.
Yeah.
And I
So,
mean, even to me, that seems like a stretch to change your oil. I don't care what you're putting in it.
yeah,
I mean, what do you think?
it definitely, every car should be every 10,000 miles.
Every 10,000?
Every car, no matter
Honda,
what,
Mercedes, no matter what it
no
is.
matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same, what about the brake fluid though? Because see, a lot of times you go into these places and you go in for oil change and say, oh, well, you need this, you need that. Now, in your opinion, do you think that the car really needs that, or are they just trying to up their uh, numbers for the month?
To be honest, I do believe that the car needs it every 30,000 miles.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Now, this is just my opinion. Maybe nobody else cares. But how often do you think like brake? I know it varies from like driver to driver, but like brake pads, brake fluid, like how often should that be changed?
Well, like I just told you, brake fluid every 30.
Every
Um,
30,000 miles.
yeah,
Yeah.
rotors is and all that just depends on how much you drive, really.
Yeah.
If you don't drive much, then
But I mean, do you think they're full of shit when they say you need rotors, or do you think they're actually being honest?
um, I definitely think they're being honest. I don't think that they will try and muscle something on you that doesn't really need to be done. Now, some dealerships maybe, but most guys don't. Most guys don't. If you need brake pads and rotors, you need it, you know?
So, well, like, what would you say is the most corrupt dealership?
That's hard to say, man. There's so much internal work going on. Everybody does whatever they can to squeeze the numbers. It's all a numbers game, the whole entire thing.
Yeah.
So that's a rough question, man.
Well, take a guess. You're here now, so now you're on the spot. Give me the two most corrupt.
Every dealership works differently. It's under different
Well, give me
management.
two. Give me two that you would say is the most corrupt.
Ah, corrupt like how?
Okay, stretches what's actually needed.
Every dealership, man.
Oh, really? That's a nice cop out. That's good. That's good.
I mean, it's like every dealership
Skinny
does.
Vinny with the
It's
toggle.
that's yeah, it's too hard of a question, man, because everybody does everything differently. Some dealerships have to push other things more than other things.
Because of the kickback.
Well, no, not because of the kickback, just because that's just the way the manufacturers have it set up. To the point where Mercedes maybe needs to push more tires than Honda. So they'll do, you know,
So if you really don't need a tire, they'll say you need a tire. Would you go that far, or you just don't want to say that?
I mean,
You can jerk your head to the left. I won't put the camera on you,
they
but
they might say, before that it's actually needed, like Because look, they don't know when you're gonna come in again, right? So if it's like not that bad, you could probably get away with it. They'll probably be like, "Hey, you need a tire," because they don't know when you're gonna come back, you know. So
So it's kind of like a 50-50, right? So like
it's
you might not need that at the moment, but you're going to need it.
yeah.
So it's kind of
So
like
let's do it now.
a hedge bet, right?
Let's do it now. You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. All right.
Yeah.
So now before all of this that you're into, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So where did you grow up at?
So I grew up in Jupiter in Palm Beach County. I don't know if anybody, really knows. It's like a super small town,
Mhm.
little beach town. I was born and raised there and went to elementary, middle school, high school there, and then ended up going to college from there.
Brothers, sisters?
Yep, I got one brother, one sister, mom, dad. Um, yeah, just regular guy, regular family. Good family though. I come from good background. My dad was born and raised in Queens, and so was my mom
In New York.
in New York. Yep,
Okay.
yep,
Cool. Cool.
yep.
And then you went to college. What'd you go to college for?
So I actually had a scholarship to play soccer.
Did you?
I was a soccer
Ah,
superstar, man.
you're Italian. Yeah.
Yeah, I was one of the best to come out of Jupiter. Um, I set a whole bunch of records in high school and stuff like that.
What
And then
position did you play?
I was a goal scorer, man, striker.
Striker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
depended
played a
on
lot of
me to
soccer
win.
too. Yeah.
They depended on me to win. So, yeah, I ended up getting, I flunked out a lot in school. I was super smart, and I didn't put the effort in. That was the biggest mistake. And my mom and dad always told me, look, you got to put the effort in if you want to go to a good school. And I just didn't. I didn't. I just wanted to mess around and, you know,
Do
be
you
an
think it was
idiot.
like your surroundings or it just didn't interest you?
Um, I guess it was like kind of my surroundings. Jupiter's a good neighborhood, it's a good community,
Yeah.
but it's influenced by a lot of partying, a lot of, drugs and
Jupiter's?
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, definitely, yeah. A lot of weed smoking, like every single person in school smoking weed.
In Jupiter?
Of course,
That's
yeah.
news to me. I thought Jupiter was like really clean.
No.
The more people I have in here, I don't know anything. I'm like the idiot over
Well,
here.
it's because look, a lot of people from Jupiter come with money, right? I came from hard working class dad, stay at home mom. So for me, it was a little different than most kids. I mean, I did grow up in Jupiter, which is still nice, but I'm just raised from different values, I would say. A lot of those kids, they come from money, parents hand them money, and they go out and they just go crazy, man. And
So your mom and dad are from New York, and
yes,
then you're from here,
yep.
and you're in Jupiter,
hmm
which is a higher end area. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
what's the high school over there that's really good?
Jupiter High School.
The other one, maybe it's middle school.
You got Jupiter Middle School. Oh, Independence Middle School
Oh yeah,
in Abacoa.
yeah.
Yeah. So I lived in a small neighborhood called Indian Creek
Mhm.
for the first like 12 years of my life, and then when my dad started making some money, I actually moved to Abacoa.
Okay,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
right. So you had two siblings. They're down here. You're, so you have a good family. You got two siblings. Everything's good and cool. You just don't
Yeah.
really care about school, right?
Yeah,
But you're good
man.
soccer players, so you kind of get the benefit of the doubt.
I got kicked off of my senior year team after I was setting records left and right. I mean, left and right. I was setting records. I was scoring 4 or 5 goals a game. We were undefeated, and I blew it, man, with the grades. I just didn't go to school. I just kept skipping school, and you know,
You push it to the max.
I pushed it to the max every single day.
You know what's funny is that I played soccer too, and I mean, all these other sports are tough and everything,
Yeah,
but you have to be in shape to play soccer.
I was like Bruce Lee ripped, man, back then. I could run. I'm telling you, I could run. I played 90 minutes the whole entire. Soccer's 90
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah. No, I played all my
I
life.
didn't take a break, a water break, nothing. They needed me on the field every second of every game.
Yeah,
and I just became, the leader. I liked that position. I wanted that role, and being a leader. I liked it. I liked having the pressure on my back to win. It's just who I became after a while.
right. So if you don't know quite soccer the way that Vinny and I do, as a striker, there's basically on offense, and think of the offense as Stephon Curry in the NBA, right? And he passes the ball. In this situation, he kicks the ball to you, and you get it in a good range, and you strike to the goal.
Yeah, a lot of the times I was making my own opportunities. I was just getting the ball, dribbling the ball all the way. You know, I had a great team behind me, great group of guys. We're still friends to this day, every one of us. It's just like it's a brotherhood. It's a different type of relationship when you fight through battles and wars together. That's the way you look at it when you're a kid. You're going into battle with somebody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, we took that thing seriously. We took that sport very
When
seriously.
I was playing football. I was really good at football, and even though I'm only like 5'9", 5'10", I was really good at basketball too because I could jump. You know what I mean? I was really fast. But my
Were you like a
family,
Nate Robinson, like dunking at 5'8",
I
5'9"?
wish. I'm not 5'8", by the way, asshole. But thank you for throwing that in there. But when I was playing, we used to always like depend on the goalie.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And we had a beast goalie up in
we had a great
Pennsylvania.
goalie too.
If
Yeah,
you don't have a goalie, it doesn't matter how good you are. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And this guy, I mean, you really had to come with some fire. You
yeah.
know. But what happened with me was it would be a conflict because I was playing football, soccer, and basketball,
Right.
and sometimes they would overlap. I was really good, but I had a scholarship to North Carolina with football
Okay.
as a running back, and I I was I was running back, and the call was, I to make it simple, I cut, make a right,
Yeah.
catch the pass, right?
Right. Right.
Well, the quarterback threw the pass in between, like in the middle, and I got crushed right in the head. This is before all this, like you can't do this, you can't do that.
Yeah. In the rough
So
times.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I got two helmets to my head, and I had a severe concussion, and the doctors have said, look, if you get hit again, I mean, I had a headache for like 2 months. It was crazy.
Shit.
Oh my god, yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. I mean, to this day, sometimes I still get like tunnel vision. You know what I mean? I got hit hard, so I couldn't play for a year. Now I wanted to play, but you know,
Yeah.
my parents wouldn't let me.
Of course, it's like, that love for the game. Once you have the love for the game, it's like nothing can stop you.
Yeah,
One time when I was young, I had like 103 fever. And I was like, it was a championship game. This was before high school. This was like when I was traveling around the state and the country playing ball. And my mom and dad, I'll never forget, they were arguing in the bathroom as I'm laying there in the shower. I was laying down in the shower, like trying to feel better. And my mom's like, he's not playing. And my dad's like, well, he wants to play. Chuck, you gonna let him, my dad's name is Chuck. You gonna let him go play and kill himself over a game? Like, this is crazy.
so your mom was the one who wanted you to play?
No, my dad was the one who
Oh,
wanted me
okay.
to play.
Oh, your mom was saying, "Don't let
Yeah.
him play with it." Yeah,
What, are
yeah.
you
Well, that's
crazy,
just that mother
But my
instinct.
dad
Yeah,
was an athlete too.
yeah,
My dad, grew up playing football, so he knew the drive. He knew the love for the sport. It's like you can't be contained.
yeah.
It's like if, and I went out and played and I scored the game winning goal, man, and I came home sick as shit. And
But you played though. You know what I
I
mean?
played and I didn't play well, but when you're a striker, you just have that mentality to be in the right place at the right time. And when the ball comes to you, you just put it in the back of the net. So that was, and then sometimes you go over and beyond to make things happen. That day, obviously, I didn't because I was sick as shit. So I just, was waiting for the ball up there and I just put it in the back of the net. So,
But still, you played though. And the important thing is that later in life, like that day when you played with that 103 fever, you know, that should should continue on in your life because you didn't feel good. You know, I'm tired right now. You're tired.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to be sitting here right now,
It's late
but
night
nor do
right now.
you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But if you want to win and you want to be successful, or just achieve something that you like, forget about being tired. you know?
I agree. It builds character. It builds value. Especially like, I encourage every parent to get their kid into sports from a young age because not only does it build, bonding with good guys that you'll grow up with and you'll still have relationships. It just builds like that winning mentality in life and it continues. And even when we'll get into the story of what I did after, I took the soccer mentality to that. And I was like, I'm going to be the best at what I do. And that's just what it is. I'm not going to let anybody beat me. I'll do whatever it takes to win. And, it's just, it sticks with you forever, man. It does.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people in here that got in trouble. We're about to get into that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But, the the initial mentality of any business, any marketing, any sport, anything you do, it it applies to everything. So if you did something insanely illegal but you were successful, you can take that basis and apply it to any business. And if you apply it correctly, it will be successful.
I agree. I just look at the leadership mentality. I had to be a leader then, and I just continued that throughout my life. Whatever I was gonna do, I was gonna make sure like if I'm not a leader, like right now I work for a company, and you and I had this discussion before we went on live. uh I can't stand not being the leader, not running the business, not doing what I want to do, not doing it the way that I want it done, and that just, it's like a itchy feeling inside, like you know you gotta just,
And as you said, I told you this before we came on, but you choose to do that. You
it's
just, you like you're a smart kid. I've known you a long time, and you choose to settle right now. You
100%.
just, yeah, but you know what you need to do, but you're just not at that point yet. One day you're gonna get to. Well, I hope because you're not dumb. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah, we know that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
at
Thanks
at
thanks
least you
for
got some narcissism in you. Yeah,
thanks for reassuring me. Yeah.
well, like when somebody calls me a narcissist, a normal person would be like, "Fuck you," right? Me,
Yeah.
I say thank you.
I
I
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
Yeah.
You're cocky. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? But the problem with me, and I've said this before, is that my problem in my life, was that I had to be fulfilled. And I didn't understand that until maybe a year ago, you know.
Yeah.
And you can have all the money in the world, Vinny, you can have all the success, but for you to really build something and do it right,
Mhm.
you have to be fulfilled inside and then you can do it. And
I agree.
whether you're at that point or not, that's that's in your heart, not my heart, but once you're there, you know, and you love yourself 100%, then you'll go through the struggle because things take time, So you're working for somebody now. I can't believe that you still are,
Yeah.
but look, I understand. You got to pay the bills. You got to do what you got to do. But
Right. So I do believe in, I've read something somewhere that says, if you're working 9 to 5 for somebody else and not going home after that and working on you and what you need to get done and your dreams, then you're just wasting your life. Like I don't go home after work and just, oh, let's watch TV, Netflix, or play video games, or I don't do that. I'm constantly, brainstorming, plotting, trying to, come up with my next move of how I'm going to initially, like I said with the soccer thing, take over. I have that takeover mentality. I want to win. So it eats me inside when I don't live up to my full potential.
and again, I know you for a long time, so I'm not breaking your balls.
Yeah, you are.
I know you. I know, like I know you know. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And the problem with you is that you have all these ideas, and I've said this before to other people. You know what I mean? You can't have all these ideas. You have to pick one or two and go at it. And if you have to eat ramen noodles for 6 months, so what?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because I could be wrong. Now I'm not saying I know everything or anything like that, but the way I look at things, and you know, people may not like to hear it. You may not like to hear it, but I'm me, and I'm not going to change.
Yeah,
Is there's winners and losers. So either you win or you lose.
I
Now,
agree
now
with that.
there's people that are fine with a 9 to 5, and I respect them. And sometimes I wish I could accept that
Yeah,
because they're home at 9, or they wake up and they go to work at 9. They get home at 5 with their family, and I wish I could be like that sometimes. You know what I mean? But my mentality, and I know you,
yeah,
it's just not like that. But your problem is that you don't. You're like one of those people. I forget who I was talking about this with.
oh no.
Multiple. This is like a repeat. I was talking about with a couple people. It's like I'm repeating myself every time somebody comes in. But you have all these ideas, but you don't stick to one or two that are good. You got all, and you go halfway. Like in my opinion, Bill Barr, who is Trump's attorney general right now.
Right, right, we spoke about him.
Yeah, before we came on. Now I thought he was going to be a bull.
Yeah,
Now I don't know if he's got death threats. I don't know what the hell's going on with him. But he goes like, if it's 1 to 10, he's got a good idea, a good move. He goes to about 7, and then he stops. And now there's my point is, I mean, you're not getting death threats. He might be getting death threats. Who knows who paid him off?
right.
It's the most corrupt thing I've ever seen in my life. Whether you're for Biden, for Trump, whatever, you will never in your life see anything more crazy than this.
Well, I don't know how you could be for Biden. You can't even understand what the man says when he speaks. So it's,
Well,
you
well,
know, I mean, look,
you
we don't really
know,
have much to choose from. I think Trump's done a lot of good. But Biden,
but they
we
won't
won't
tell
get
you.
all political.
Yeah,
We'll
but they
save
won't
that
tell you.
for.
If Trump does lose, I think he's going to probably go to Newsmax. Everybody's going over there. I think Hannity might go over there, and if Tucker Carlson goes over there, Fox is done.
Yeah,
Because I mean, Tucker's paying all their salaries in reality.
true.
And at first, I didn't like him. I thought he was like a wacko, but he's upped his game, and I mean, he's probably, I don't see anybody better than him. I mean, he's got the #1 ratings.
Yeah.
And if they go to Newsmax, and I think Trump, if he loses, will go to Newsmax. And from people that I talk to, think he thinks, because the guy hates to lose. You know what I mean?
And that's what we're
And
talking
and,
about.
and people that I know that know him personally, they think he's going to run in 2024.
And I don't disagree with that.
I mean, I kind of hesitate to think that because he's going to be a lot older, but I mean, the guy is just,
He's a
he's
winner.
fire. And he's got a lot of people behind him,
Yeah.
and when all this shit comes out, and it is just an ugly situation. But
Well, going back to what we said about sticking with one plan. Growing up when I was younger, if you want to get into this now, we can.
go, yeah.
Yeah. So growing up when I was younger, I basically had one plan in mind, and that was to, sell weed. That was it. Like it started as just a young kid that was just getting a little bit of weed to like smoke. I was a big smoker back then. Probably another reason why I, flunked out of school. It never affected my athleticism ever. It did over time. So, kids at home, if you're watching this, it does affect you over time.
Now back then, was there like the indica, the sativa, the hybrid,
I
or it
mean,
was just whatever you could get?
growing up in Florida, we're a black market state, right? We're an illegal state. So, you never know what you're getting.
Hmm.
Like when you're picking up weed, it's like people make up shit and they'll say, yeah, this is indica, whatever, but they don't really know unless it's like coming from California or whatnot. But, it's like, which most of the weed is coming from California on that type of a basis. But, um, yeah, it's never,
So your goal was to sell weed?
yeah, at a
Okay.
young age.
All right. So
So
now
14 years old.
at 14?
Yeah. Oh, just little bits,
Yeah.
like so when I go back to the soccer thing, and I started, basically he became my best friend and partner throughout the whole entire my career, as you would call it. Um, he was, picking up a little bit, like a half ounce or an ounce or, whatever. And I just started getting little bits from him, selling it to my friends, and smoking for free. And it just became, I guess you could just call it a habit. It was just it was just something that was now a part of my routine. Just getting, a little bit of weed and selling it. And we grew from there. We ended up growing pretty big time after, you know,
All right,
some
so
years.
so you get into the weed, you have a partner, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens after that?
After
Well, you have a partner now. You're like in the weed business, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah, so we're picking up speed. This was 14 years old. Um, then we started through high school. Now we're picking up a couple pounds and whatnot. And by the time that I was 18, my mom and my dad were going through a bunch of, you know, relationship issues.
Hmm.
My dad was basically living a double life with another, woman, and you know, he ended up losing his job, and we ended up foreclosing on the house at 18 when I was 18. So that's when I decided to kick in that mentality like, okay, well, I'm going to do this shit for real now because my mom had no job. She hasn't worked in 20 something years. She was a stay-at-home mom. So now my dad lost a job, my mom has no job. She's got to go out look for a job, and so does my dad. And they had a little bit of money enough to get my mom into a first, last, and security, renting a place. And my dad went to go live with, his new thing.
So, do you think you got into the weed business to try to help out your mom? Because she was a
It
stay-at-home
it
mom,
didn't
right?
start as that. No,
But I mean, your mom stayed at home. She didn't work. Your dad provided, right?
my dad provided.
Then he has a girl. He leaves. Did that spark you to get into this, or?
It sparked me to take it to the next level. That's what it did.
And when you say next level, what do you mean?
Just take over by any means necessary.
When?
At 18 years old, when as soon as we lost the house, that was when I was like, all right, I'm going to kick this thing up for real. So that's when, my partner and I started picking up a good amount of, weed for what we thought at that age, at 18, you know, 20 pounds, whatnot, which street value is, $50,000, for a bunch of 18-year-old kids. Um,
Now, when you buy 20 pounds, what's that cost you?
it costs us about, well, prices always
I'm
fluctuate.
saying at that time. You know what I
At
mean?
that time, it was probably close to about, I'd say 60,000.
For 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what do you make off the 20 pounds average? Because I know you could break it up.
So
You could
there's
do it
two
this way.
sides of the business,
Yeah.
there's the retail and there's the wholesale.
Hmm.
And I started as retail, obviously, and then it kicked up into wholesale. So, you're only making a couple $100 off each pound once you're getting into wholesale. So, you make 2 grand a week, 3 grand a week, doing it. So, you know, that's how it started. And then, I, to be honest, I relied on my dad at that age to try and figure this shit out. I didn't really know it came down to the point where, I was going to have to step up and really try and, take care of them, or people were going to, lose everything.
Did your
So,
dad know what you were doing?
so when I was about 20, he knew, because I was helping him take care of my mom's rent because he didn't have a job. He was, bouncing around from company to company trying to, find something like his last job. But it didn't really work out like, he wanted it to. So by 20 years old is when I started, helping my mom with the rent. I was living on my own. I got my own place at 18. I was selling this kid weed, and, he was in a mansion in Jupiter, and he had this little guest house in the front lawn. And he was like, hey, my parents are renting this out for like $1,000 a month. Then I was like, I sell him weed anyway. I guess I'm safe here. I'm just gonna live there. So I lived there for about a year, and yeah. So
You live
um,
with that kid?
on the guest house
Yeah,
on his
right.
property. Yeah.
Was he over here in Palm Beach Island?
No, it's on Center Street on the water in Jupiter.
Okay.
They're like, custom homes there.
Okay.
It's not like a neighborhood. They're just basically private driveways on the water. It's nice. Nice house. Yeah.
Okay. So you're living with him in a guest house, right?
Yeah.
Your dad knows what you're doing.
He knows now.
He's having trouble getting a job.
Yep.
Now, why is he having trouble getting a job?
I get so this was let me see. When I graduated high school, it was 2010,
Hmm.
which was, I guess, supposedly the huge recession, right? From the Obama,
From '08,
whatever.
yeah, when he bailed
Yeah,
out
oh 08, oh
everybody.
09, yeah.
Mhm.
So that was when everything hit. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not sure why it was so difficult for him to get something, rolling as far as being able to, he was doing his part, coming in with a couple grand here and there, but nothing to what we needed it to be.
So now at this point, you're kind of helping out your father.
My mom,
You're taking care of your mother, who was a stay-at-home mother. So what? I
yes,
mean, what's she
she
gonna
she
do?
eventually got a job working driver's ed. She was a driver's ed teacher for like nothing. She was getting paid
Mm,
shit.
waste of time,
Yeah,
right? So
she by the
yeah,
end of it, she actually had 3 jobs.
right. So you're
Yeah,
you're seeing this, and you're like, this is my mother. She's working 3 jobs for bullshit.
yeah.
I mean, let's just call it what it
I was
is. You know
more
what I mean?
pissed than anything, and that's what drove me to like just become a monster in that industry.
Now, do you hold that against your dad at all?
No, no, I don't, because look, people make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes,
I
and
like that.
yeah, it's just what it is. I don't blame anybody for my decisions but me. That's just the way I've always, not always, I guess, after I went through my trials and tribulations, I just blame it on me. It's just easier that way than to blame it on somebody else
But
and
you know,
I'll get into that
yeah, but
when.
you know, Vinny, a lot of times people will be like, "Oh, my dad did this, my dad did that," but you hear, and I dealt with two with my parents.
Right,
It's like you hear one side of the story, you hear the other side of the story, and neither of them are accurate.
right,
It's kind of like a combination between the two.
right.
Yeah, I'm just telling you from my point of view. I don't know what happened with you
Well, it's
guys.
it's almost the same thing. It was like my mom versus my dad, right? I
Right.
gotta pick which side. My dad's, no, I got the rent covered, don't worry. And my mom's like, well, I don't have any money, so he hasn't sent me anything. So, like shit like that.
But maybe he did though, you know what I mean? And see,
Yeah,
in my situation was the same thing. It was like, and to this day, I don't really know. You know what I mean? But you know, like you said, people make mistakes, and my dad has one side, my mom has one side, and after talking to both of them as I'm older and been through a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? I'm sure a lot that my father says is true. I'm sure that a lot that my mother says is true. But
right.
is everything that my mom said true?
No,
Hell no.
of course not.
Is everything that my dad says true? Hell no. So there's a happy medium.
Right, right.
We're all humans. We all make mistakes. I mean, shit. And what are you gonna do? Your dad finds another girl. Well, maybe there was a reason why he went
And
and found another girl.
and there
Maybe there wasn't a reason. Maybe he's a fucking asshole. You
so
don't know.
I'll tell you one thing. My sister was kind of like me, but just, kind of like the problem child, right? Every night it was basically between, my mom and my dad trying to uh, guide her. They were arguing constantly. My mom was attacking her constantly.
Your sister?
Yeah, about
Why?
just because she was just never listened, and my mom was like the disciplined type, and my dad was like, I don't want to hear this shit type, you know? So that's when um, it became to the point where they were just arguing over disciplining her, and they just fell out about it. That was really what it came down to. They didn't know how to raise her, and I'm not blaming it on my sister. My sister was just a teenager, you know? You can only blame it on uh You could only blame it on the parents for not agreeing on how, they want things done. Can't blame a teenage girl for, going out and partying and coming home late. And these are things that just added up to the point where they just fell out after they were married for 28 years, man.
Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah, 28
Shit, that's a
years.
long time.
Yeah, man. 28 years they were married. So they come from that old school raised era. So to the point where you think they'll never get divorced, but you
All
know,
right, so now you start selling the weed, right?
selling the weed, yeah. So
And take it from there.
okay, so yeah, about 2021 is when we started getting big, right? Getting maybe 70, 80 pounds of. Now
Phew.
there's a difference between indoor and outdoor. If the
Explain
people
that because I don't
So
know.
outdoor is grown outside where it's much cheaper to grow, so the prices are cheaper. Indoor, it takes a lot of capital, it takes a lot of space, rent, overhead. So the weed is obviously better, right? And it's more expensive. So, when you're playing with, let's say, 100 pounds of indoor, which is $250,000 as opposed to, 100 pounds of outdoor, which is probably like half the price, you know? So we were basically indoor guys. We had some Cuban guys, in Florida, and we were getting we had the connect. Definitely had a good connect. So we started wholesaling whatever. Where my life changed was when my buddies from Colorado introduced me to the hash oil.
And now at this time, is Colorado has legalized
Colorado
marijuana?
is legalized. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And they were bringing me, I knew a very exclusive grower who was bringing me some very exclusive stuff. And he wasn't consistent, but when he did bring it, the whole entire city went like ape shit because this was like he had the best strain, he grew it the best. I mean, he was a monster at what he did. And one day he brought me this stuff called hash oil, which was like to me, nobody in Jupiter really knew what this was, right? And basically, it was like Palm Beach County. Now I branched out a little bit. You know what I mean? So nobody knew what it was. It just looked like it was like gold mush, and people were scared. They're almost like, what? It's like almost crackhead
Was it
stuff.
like crystallized?
Yeah, yeah, it was crystallized a little bit. It was just a gooey, waxy substance.
You know what? I had a guy in here, right? His name's Brandon, and he had he was really good at football. He was about to get drafted,
Hmm.
and he hurt his back really bad, and they were trying to give him all these pain pills and stuff, and he wouldn't take them. So he couldn't walk. His profession is cutting hair.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he's really good. I mean, he was going to get drafted. So the doctor said, "Oh, take OxyContin, take this, take perks, whatever." He wouldn't take it. Well, then the weed started to get legalized. Well, he went to the medical marijuana. He started smoking it. The guy's walking like you wouldn't even believe.
So the medicinal purposes, and this has been going back since like, the beginning of time, to where the government, basically stops all sales of marijuana and because, I guess that's a very controversial topic that I won't get into. But uh, you know, it's got plenty of medicinal purposes to where it should have been legalized a long time ago. And with the hash oil, it's just a very concentrated version of smoking weed. I mean, all you're doing is extracting all the THC and stuff from the marijuana. So, it's very powerful, very strong stuff we got going on here. And very expensive at the time. It was
Now,
very
when you
expensive.
compare the oil or the hash
Yeah,
to the where you roll it, like the actual plant, how much stronger is that?
it's a lot stronger. I would say probably almost 10 times stronger.
Okay, so now you're into that, right?
Yeah. So when they brought it over, I basically was like the entrepreneurial kid. I was going around with a backpack and a little bong so that people can smoke it, and I was giving them little dabs and stuff, and they were like almost scared to death. And every time somebody, took a hit of this shit, they were like assed out, like
Hmm.
zooted to the point where they were coughing to death. Like it was just insane. But they started to love it over time. I just kept pushing it to the point where people were starting to become obsessed with it. So, just like any businessman, I was demanding more from my Colorado guy. I said, I need more hash oil. I need more hash oil. And he couldn't keep up with my supply. So, that's when I started trying to learn how to do it myself. And I started, making little bits. I had so much indoor weed that I could probably just make it myself, and that's when I started doing it.
You started making it yourself.
Yeah.
And what's that process like?
Oh man, it's a big one. It's a big process. So basically, you have to, put the marijuana in a tube, and you have to run butane through it, and the butane basically acts like a freezing pressure agent, which actually crushes the marijuana to the point where the oil drips out of the bottom of the tube into a pan.
So you get the actual grown marijuana, and then you crush it,
Y-
like in simple terms.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And then you get the oil out of it, and that's the oil that would go in like a vapor pen or whatever it may be.
back then there was no vapor pens when this first, they didn't have them.
Is that how they're doing it now, though?
That's how everybody's doing it now because the industry has revolutionized so much. I mean, this was 2000 and I want to say 13 or 14.
Okay. All right. All
And,
right. So now you're doing this on a big scale at this point.
no, this is still small scale.
Okay.
This was just making enough to satisfy my customers. So, I basically ended up cutting off my Colorado Connect because I had the access to the weed, so I could make it myself. I just needed to get good at it. So we kept repeating the process until we got it right. And, we eventually got it right. But we learned the secret niche, which changed my life forever. That's, that's
I want
how,
to ask you the secret niche, but when you got to that point, and
yeah.
you went trial and error. Like, how long did it take until you got it right?
We were pretty good at it right from the jump. I mean, to be honest with you, with access to the internet and YouTube and stuff, it's,
Everybody says YouTube.
yeah,
You know what?
yeah.
I've had so many people in that did
YouTube works
bad
wonders,
stuff.
man.
Yeah, I mean, I had John.
Well, it's a legal process. It's not,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
making hash oil in other states is legal. California, Colorado. So people, we had access to information on how to make it.
So
So
you basically watched YouTube how to make it.
pretty much, man. Yeah, that's how we started.
You're like the
Yeah.
fourth guy that's been in here that's told me that, and
Yeah.
because what I was telling was that there's this guy, John Boziak, cool guy. You love him.
Hmm.
You love him. He's chill. He's chill as can be. He's got a best-selling book. They're doing a Netflix thing on him, and he was doing carding. He gets blank cards, prints the credit card number on the card.
Okay.
And I said, "How'd you learn all this?" He said, "YouTube."
That's
I said,
crazy,
"What?"
man.
He said, "YouTube." I said,
Yeah.
"Well, where'd you get all the equipment?" He said, "eBay." I said, "eBay."
Yeah,
He said,
man.
"Everything
It's
was on eBay." I said, "Okay, all right." And the guy had like an arts degree, you know what I mean? And he comes in and you first look at him and you're like, "Oh boy, this is going to be interesting."
yeah.
And then he sits down and I'll tell you what, he is smart as Elon, not Elon Musk, but he but
That's
he
a smart
you know
guy,
what's funny though?
man.
He worked for Elon Musk. That's what's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see it. It's gonna come out soon. So he does all this carding. He gets out. Does what he has to do.
Hmm.
He works for Tesla for 2 years.
Wow.
I mean, this kid's bright. But when you first look at him, you're like, oh shit. But I mean, and I would ask him questions. Wait, how'd you do this? YouTube, YouTube, YouTube.
It's crazy,
I said,
man. I
I
mean,
said, YouTube.
the access to information that you can get is insane. So, when I first started making it, we were just like little lab rats. It's really all we were. I hired one of my best friends after I started making enough, to help me with the process. Um, which that ended badly. So,
Well, they
yeah.
always say never hire your friends. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. It ended up bad. Um,
Why did it end up bad? What happened?
well, towards the end of the story, I'll tell you that,
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
he was one of the reasons, that
Everything got
everything ended.
ugly.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so at this point you're 21, right?
21.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I learned the secret niche, and the secret niche changed my life forever, man. Now, some people would say it's unethical, but when it comes to business, I just didn't really care because I told you I was just monster mentality, man. So, at first we were grinding up the weed.
So now let's take that back.
Okay.
Monster mentality,
Yeah,
winner, loser.
100%. And
Thank you.
I,
Lefty from Donnie Brasco. Thank you.
yeah, I, uh, I was like, man, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm just gonna do this because I'm gonna be rich. Which, maybe all the bad karma came back to bite me in the ass after the fact. But
Always does.
I did make a shit ton of money. So
And let me
basically,
ask you a question, Vinny. When you're
mhm,
making a shit ton of money, right?
yeah.
Were you fulfilled?
At the time, I thought yes, but as I was sitting in my cell, and looking back,
Forget about the cell. When you had all the money, were you fulfilled?
yeah, I was.
No, you weren't. You got how old are you?
I'm 29 now.
No,
Well,
you weren't fulfilled.
well, that's why I said I thought I was.
But the cell's not going to make you feel fulfilled.
It opened my eyes to the point where I was able to, decipher what was real, what was fake, what was actually making me happy, and what actually wasn't making me happy.
Okay, so at the peak, when you had all this money,
Yeah.
did you feel fulfilled? Yeah, you could go buy this and that, but that all goes away. You
And
buy it as fun, but
but you
then
don't
what?
you don't realize that at the time though, right?
I'm
You only
listening to you.
realize it till you lose it all,
Yeah.
right? You don't
No,
you
no, I agree
don't
with you.
yeah, you don't
Yeah.
realize it at the time when you're living the dream, doing whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, like for um so I'll tell you a little about the secret niche. So basically we were grinding up the weed in the beginning because it maximizes the oil yield, right? Because when all the weed is broken down, you get more oil. But I'll never forget. There was this kid from Stewart who called me all the time, and Stewart's a little bit north of Jupiter. Called me all the time, begging me for weed constantly. He was the most annoying kid on the face of the fucking earth, man. Like he just, I mean, I couldn't tell him anything. If I was at dinner, I was at lunch, he didn't care. He wanted his shit. So, one day he was complaining about price, and I was just, I was fed up with it. So my buddy, who I hired, one of my best friends, was in my backyard. I was actually doing this crazy like enough because I only lived in the Center Street house for a year. So when I moved out, I was at my mom's, waiting to get approved for this apartment in Abaco. So we were actually in back of my mom's house in the backyard making hash oil, and she didn't even know. She didn't know because she was working 3 jobs, so she was never there. So one day he's running all the hash oil, um, and we used to have this cardboard box that was right next to, um, our setup. And he actually pushed the weed out of the tube, right, into the cardboard box. So I look into the cardboard box and I said, "Hey, man, did you run this weed yet into oil?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Are you sure? It looks perfect. I mean, it doesn't look like you ran it." He's like, "I ran it." I was like, "Dude, there's no way. I mean, look at it. The weed looks exactly the same, from beforehand." And he was like, "Dude, I ran it." And I was like, "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" I swear that's exactly what both of us said. "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And he said, "Yeah." And basically, I just resold the weed. So I was stealing all the profit and the hash oil from the weed and then reselling the weed. So let's say I pick up a pound of weed at $2,500, right? And I get $100, or I mean, I'm sorry, 100 grams out of it of hash oil. And then I go and I sell that for 25 a gram, right? That's $2,500. So for every pound, I'm making $2,500 profit. So this is game changing, especially because I have access to, a shit ton of indoor weed. I was like, I can't lose. I can never lose. I make the oil and I resell the weed. How could I ever lose? That's when my life changed.
So
Right
you
then in my
so
mom's
you were
backyard.
getting the weed
Hmm.
as a plant, right?
Yes.
You're making the oil, so now you're making money off of the oil, and then you're taking the weed that you took the oil from and selling the weed too, right? The
Yep.
plant.
Yep.
Good move.
Yeah. So we just started running all the weed that we had and just pumped up the oil clientele. So if I get 10 pounds of weed, I'm running 10 pounds of weed and I'm making 25,000. But, it started to get to the point where I couldn't even make enough oil. I couldn't even get my hands on enough weed because the oil epidemic just absolutely boomed out of control after about a year.
And what year was that?
This was about 2014.
That's when the oil got big.
Yeah, that's
Really?
when yeah, yeah. I had kids from colleges all over the state coming to me with mommy and daddy money, just like spending a shit ton of money,
So you
all for
weren't
oil.
so you weren't just local.
No.
Like you were shipping it around.
So by the time I started, to meet people and get big, I was running to the west coast of Florida. I was running down to Miami. I had kids in Boca that were spending 30, 40, $50,000 with me at a time. You know, uh, as soon as I made a batch, it was gone. They wanted it.
50 grand on weed? Damn.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
In one shot, just like, and it was all profit. That's the thing. It's not like I have to use my own money to buy it and then get the 50 grand and do no, the 50 grand that's coming from this kid in Boca is all mine in my pocket. It
Jesus.
was just like it was the niche of a lifetime.
Now at this point, do you still have that partner?
My weed partner,
Yeah.
yes, my best friend, yeah.
Okay.
So and I'm gonna tell you how I grew even more. So this was basically when we were dealing with the Cubans getting the indoor, right? We met another guy, and he was a crazy motherfucker, Russian guy. Um, and he started bringing us back probably 5, 6, 700 pounds of what they call light depths. Light depths are like you start the weed indoors, but then you bring them outdoors. So they're like half outdoor, half indoor, if you want to put it in simple terms. So,
So Vinny, what does that mean? Half indoor, half outdoor.
so obviously, like I said before, there's indoor, there's outdoor, right? Plants, you can actually start the cycle while they're young indoors and then bring them outdoors. And it almost becomes like a super outdoor, you know?
Is that because of the sunlight?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So, instead of starting the whole cycle outdoors,
Hmm.
right, you start half of its life indoors and bring it outdoors. So they look like indoors. They look like, they look really good if the people that are growing them know what they're doing. So we met this guy and he pretty much changed everything. So one day I decided to go to my partner and let him know what I was doing. And that also changed everything. Because don't forget, when he was getting like the 50, 60, 70 pounds of the indoor, right? He was giving me 10 and 20, and I was just doing this by myself, making the money without him making, knowing what I'm doing. So when I actually approached him and told him this is what I'm doing, he was all in. So all the stuff that he got, he was giving to me, and we were just partners now. So let's say he got the 100 pounds of indoor. I would run it all into hash oil. He would run it up to his college towns, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, and sell the, ran weed, what we call butyl weed because there's butane, right? He would sell the butane weed and I would sell all the oil and we'd split profit. So that's how I was able to grow on a massive scale. because he had the connect, I had the niche. We partnered up and just split profit.
So you had the ability to make it happen, but he had
Yes.
the connections,
He had
right?
he had the connections. My whole life since I've been 14, I've been dealing with the same guy, my best friend. He was the guy.
And then how did it go bad with him?
Well, it never went bad with him.
Okay.
It went bad with my guy that was helping me run the hash oil because when the feds came down and
What led to the feds coming down? So right
so
now, right now, you got your guy. He has all the connections.
yeah, I don't want to skip around too much
Yeah,
because then
yeah,
people get confused.
yeah. You got you're the guy who knows how to. You have the niche,
I have the
right?
niche.
Okay,
Yep.
so you got the niche. You got the connections.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now you're killing it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
You're banking.
at this point in time, him and I were making probably anywhere from 40 to $60,000 a week.
Okay, so you're making $250,000 a month, roughly.
Yeah, and spending it all.
On what?
Fucking everything.
Everything you can imagine.
Everything that I
So you were
just
not laying low. In other words,
no.
no.
And that led to my indictment, yeah.
Okay, so you're doing so. Like I just said, you have the connection guy. You have you with the niche.
Right.
Okay.
So
Now you can probably feel that the dominoes are coming because you know, like when you make that kind of money, like you kind of
at that
know.
age you can't I don't
You didn't feel it.
no. I was
Okay.
22 years old, man.
Oh,
I
you
didn't
thought you were
feel anything.
invisible.
Of course, you know
Yeah, no, I get
that.
that.
You
Yeah,
know that.
22. Yeah.
So, my best friend started a clothing line. And to go a little bit into our new connect, how we jumped from 70 pounds to 4, 5, 600 pounds.
Hmm.
Yeah, was
You're
a
buying 600 pounds of fucking weed.
no. We were getting it all on consignment,
Wow.
everything.
Because they believed in you. Well,
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
we had the network,
right,
right?
right.
So we didn't need to pay for anything
Holy
ever.
shit.
We
Yeah,
had all the network because we've been doing this for so long. We knew everybody,
yeah.
so it was never an issue. We would get however much we asked for and whatever was available, and that was it. So this Russian guy, he gets out of jail, right? He did some type of bid for some type of pills and whatever. We'll refrain from saying names.
Yeah.
He got another indictment for pushing somebody off of a cruise ship. I think that's enough right there. Everybody will already know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And he had nothing when he got out. He had nothing. So my best friend through another person, gave him a little bit of weed to get him on his feet because my other friend vouched for him and said, "Look, this is my buddy. I've known him for a long time." He took that $6,000, man, and turned that shit into like $500,000 in like 6 months.
Wow.
And he was back and forth from Cali, bringing back he was connected for sure. He just had no money to show for anything in the beginning. But he became a millionaire very, very quickly. Very quickly. And you know, where it all started turning sour was he wanted a part of the clothing company. He felt that he earned it. He was now our new connect, giving us way more access to way more product and profit. So he became a partner in the clothing company. Where it kind of went sour was he kind of turned it into a little more gangster than what we were accustomed to. We're some Jupiter soccer players, surfer, skater boys, right? He brought the very street side of things to our lives. He ended up starting a record label and putting a lot of money into it. So that's, kind of the backside to the whole story.
The domino effect, basically.
It ended up being um, a domino effect after I left. Yeah, I pretty much almost got saved, to be honest. So I guess I've already talked about how we jumped to our peak. Our peak was him bringing us more
Yeah.
product than we can imagine, uh, making more money than we can imagine. You know, and the way I messed up was because I started living a lifestyle I shouldn't have. I started going down to Miami, renting limos and exotic cars and boats and, going to the clubs and just trying to fit in when I didn't need to. If I would have stayed in my small city, I would have never gotten into any shit ever. But because I wanted to live the life of fast cars, fast money, I got indicted by the feds.
Now, do you think that was like an insecurity issue? Like looking back.
You know what? I've always had a fascination with cars.
Okay,
That
so
has
it
been
was just something you
that
liked.
that has been
Yeah.
day one. And I'll tell you the quick story. So basically, I was looking to rent a limo for cash, right? Then I didn't have a debit card or a bank account back then. So I was on Craigslist looking for limos, paying cash. So this guy calls me after I put in the ad. He's like, "Yeah, I got these Mercedes Benz Sprinters and whatever." So I rallied up my whole group, all my girls, all my friends, and um I rallied up everybody, and basically we went down to Miami and started partying, right? So I got to know this guy. I took the limos out a bunch of times. I mean, probably 6, 7 times before I stepped it up to the exotic cars. So the guy basically was like, "Hey, man, look, I got these heavy cars if you want to drive them." And I was like, "Oh, okay, what do we got?" So he brings me to this warehouse and shows me these Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Bentleys, Maseratis, everything. So obviously I was intrigued because I've loved these cars my whole life, and I was a fanatic. So I started driving these crazy cars in my little city in Jupiter where there's no cars like that. I'm pulling up to like my buddies' houses and bright orange super Legra Lamborghinis, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing, man? Like, this is insane." Like
So
one
you were taking them out of Miami back to your hometown,
Yeah,
which is
because
probably not a good idea,
well,
right?
I got really good with him. And I got really good with him because he had an ulterior motive, really, which was it. So long story short, he ended up being a federal informant, um, and was building a case on me.
And you know it the whole time.
Not a clue. I mean, where I'm from, Jupiter, it's like feds, FBI and DEA. That's like in on TV. You don't think of them. My whole life, I've been dodging JPD. Not FBI,
So would you
DEA,
say
and
what killed you was these cars?
100% killed me. Not just the cars, just going down to where I'm not familiar with and trying to live a life that I shouldn't. There was no point. Why?
Yeah.
I didn't need to do that. I
Eh,
didn't need to be like this.
Celebrity
Yeah,
acting guy, right?
yeah. I didn't need to be. I
Okay.
was.
All right. So you start renting the cars.
Yeah.
He's going back to Jupiter with the cars to be
Everywhere. I didn't just not
Skinny Vinny the
Jupiter.
man.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
going everywhere, man.
yeah.
I was.
Now, how long after that into well, how does it lead up to where you get indicted? They raid you?
So they actually picked me up at the Dolphin Mall in Miami on
How'd
a
they catch you at the mall?
I was with the informant, and he told them that I was with him, and they already went to the grand jury, and my indictment went through, so they picked me up on a criminal complaint, and didn't see the light of day since.
And the informant you thought was your guy.
Yeah, I mean, I was renting car from 2000, and I want to say 13 to 15. We were like, really tight. I was, I eventually started working for him because I didn't even have a job. So
So what did he have you down as working for him for?
So he was paying me cash every day, like $300, $400 to run around the cities with him and pick up cars and drop off cars, which was like my dream job. I was like making money every day
Wow.
driving the cars
They
anyway.
really wanted you, bro.
And listen, we were going to music videos. Chris Brown, Fetty Wap, I've met.
With the informant?
Yeah, man, he's super connected down there.
Damn.
Insane connected. Insane connected. I mean, I've met NFL superstars, Antonio Brown. I met Fat Joe, Remy Ma, Yo Gotti.
Through
Uh,
him?
yeah, man. Yeah.
He,
Scott Disick.
he smoked you.
Smoked me good,
How
man.
was Scott Disick?
To be honest, all I did was drop off a pair of Audi RA keys to Nobu while him, Fat Joe, and Scott Disick were having dinner. Just said, "Hey guys, what's going on?" Introduced myself, whatever, and I was out.
Was he whacked out of his mind?
Nah, I didn't really get a good enough look at him. Like, you don't want to be that guy that's like, "Oh my God, Scott Disick, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
let
You
me get
you
a
you
bit."
want
I
to be
don't.
professional and like
Yeah.
yeah.
Here's the keys, boss.
Did you meet
I'm
Chris
out.
Brown? I'm asking you because I really like him.
Um, I didn't meet him. I went to his music video. I've met his manager. Um, Chris Brown, yeah, he's a crazy guy. They actually filmed the music video outside of Finger Lickin' in Miami Gardens.
Yeah.
Yeah, the song is called Gold Slugs.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Where they got the gold
August
teeth in 'em,
Alsina,
yeah,
yeah.
with
Yeah.
who's the guy who does all the beats? I can't believe I can't think. The heavy guy.
DJ Mustard?
No, 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 no.
Who?
He's on all the tracks, Vinny.
There's a lot of
No, no,
fat
no.
guys
He's
on a
down
lot of
from
tracks.
no, he's down in Miami. Khaled, DJ Khaled.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he owns
Okay.
the finger licking thing,
I don't know if he
or
owns that
or he has
one.
the franchise.
He started another one in South Beach, I believe, with Flow Rider, I want to say.
Okay,
Um,
but did you meet Chris Brown?
no.
But you were there
I
while
was
he was there.
I mean, they were, at the time I was getting my hair cut from a celebrity barber that I was introduced. His name was Caesar, rest in peace. He passed away. So the informant introduced me to a celebrity barber who started cutting my hair. He smoked a shit ton of weed, right? So I became cool with him. I started giving him, hash oil on consignments that he could sell. So when I pull up to this music video, he's cutting Fetty Wap's hair in the tour bus that they pulled up in. We actually went there because we had an invitation from the celebrity barber. Hey, Chris Brown's manager said that he needs a car. He needs a Bentley. So we bring the Bentley there, and these guys are all smoking my hash oil in the tour bus, And I was like, oh shit. Okay, well, So no, I didn't meet Chris Brown.
Why do you say it's crazy though?
He was just all over the place, man, in that music video, just like going nuts. I mean, I guess that's what they have to do. They play the part. But yeah, man, he was just running around like wild. Yeah. Oh man, I'm trying to think of all the stories I got. I've met a lot of guys
Yeah,
just in that business. I met the son of David Yurman. He was a dick.
Jor,
Huh?
the jewelry
Yeah,
guy.
David Yurman.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, he was a dick. Um, yeah, man. You know,
So you go to the music video. You're
I've
selling
been to a
to,
couple music videos.
but you're delivering your product, right?
No, no, the cars. You mean we were delivering cars? That's the
Okay,
reason why. Yeah, me and Caesar had a relationship outside of that,
okay,
to where he
okay.
was,
Gotcha.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I misunderstood that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Caesar was the celebrity barber. Yeah, but yeah, I've been to a couple music videos. Yeah, yeah.
Who all did you meet? Like who was? I mean, I know you.
Uh,
I
uh,
mean, these are pretty big, heavy hitters, but
yeah, I've
I
met
mean,
Fat Joe on multiple occasions. Him and the informant actually did time together at FTC Miami, so that's how they
really,
knew each other. Yes,
was Fat Joe cool?
Fat Joe was super cool. Yep, Fat Joe was super cool. I met Erica Mina. I believe that was Bow. She's on some hip hop shows, and
Yeah, I've
yeah,
seen.
yeah, I
Yeah,
met
she
her.
she sings that like tribal
Yeah,
stuff,
she does
right?
a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. Anyway, yeah, Erica Mina, Remy Ma. So Remy Ma's first music video when she got out was "Hands Up, Hands Down." That was the um first music video that she did. So we brought a black and yellow Lamborghini Gallardo to the music video because they needed a car, doors up, doors down. You
Yeah.
know, so um, yeah,
So at this point, you're selling the weed, the oil,
yeah,
well, both kinds of weed, right? The
yeah.
and you're delivering cars to heavy hitters.
Yeah, so after a certain amount of time, I stopped selling weed altogether, man. Like
Uh,
my partner was in control of just selling all the weed that we ran into hash oil. My
Okay.
responsibility now was solely, hash oil.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
how did the cards crumble?
The cars crumbled because one day I'm riding around with the informant in Miami, and he said that we had to go drop off a car to somebody. And we pull up to the Dolphin Mall, and all of a sudden, man, I see all these weird cars doing circles around me, and I just knew something was wrong. And
It just didn't look right.
no, man, they were just no. So this Dodge Ram
Hmm.
pickup truck hops out, United States Marshals, about 5 of them, all AR assault rifles. DEA hops out of a minivan from the other side, all ski masks, ARs. And then the FBI hop out of 2 Tauruses, just like dressed in casual clothes, and they picked me up.
And then what happens from there?
Uh,
Well, first off, what year was that?
that was 2015.
15. Okay. So
Hmm.
so you get hit in 15.
Got hit in October of 15.
All
Yep.
right, take me from there.
So basically, I never saw the light of day since. They didn't let me get bond. Um, they tried to make a whole bunch of deals, make me cut a whole bunch of deals, but there was nobody really, you know, that they wanted but me. I mean, the hash oil was their main concern because butane is a dangerous chemical, supposedly, in their eyes, right? It's very flammable. It can blow up a whole freaking house if you. So they wanted to know, where all the hash oil was coming from. But they already knew, you know, because later on, I found out that my best friend was picked up beforehand. The guy that was actually making all the oil for me.
Your partner?
Not my partner, not the
Okay,
weed partner. The guy I hired to make all the hash oil.
gotcha.
He was picked up 2 months before
Hmm.
I got picked up. And yeah, he told them everything and was willing to testify if I were to go to trial. So
So
I
you were dead.
I'm dead. I got a plea. I know that.
Yeah.
So I eventually plead out. I got 57 months. I didn't get caught with a single piece of hash oil.
What was the actual charges? Like,
Conspiracy to distribute 8 kilos of hash oil.
yeah, 57 months for that?
57 months, man.
That's bullshit.
And then I got a superseding indictment where I threatened a kid over the phone that I was going to send people to his home to collect some money that was owed. And you know what they charged me for that? Hobbs Act robbery. Conspiracy to commit Hobbs Act robbery.
What's Hobbs Act robbery? What the hell is that?
Basically, it's like the interference of interstate commerce.
The hell?
Yeah, so threats of violence to interfere with interstate commerce. So because I said I was going to, send somebody to collect money, it's considered Hobbs Act robbery.
Now, how did they find that out, though?
Through
If you
the,
did do
through
it.
the informant, through recordings. He
Oh.
was recording my every move.
So this guy that you were hanging out with, getting the car, he was wired the whole time?
Listen, not only was he wired, the cars were wired. My phone calls with him were recorded.
The cars that you were giving to Fat Joe, to
All wired, man.
Breezy, everybody was wired?
All wired. So whatever they want to
Holy
sit here
shit.
and say about the rental car industry, that is the biggest industry to get anybody indicted because
Wow.
because they know that they live that life. You know what I mean? If you're not a
Yeah.
celebrity, you're a drug dealer. I mean, let's just get it
Wow.
clear, right? So those cars are wired to the teeth, man. All of them.
So when you're dropping off a car to Chris Brown,
Mhm.
Fat Joe,
Mhm.
whoever the hell else,
Feds know everything.
DJ Khaled, that car's wired?
They're wired, man.
Wow.
They're wired. And if people want to sit here and say that they're not, I mean, look.
Fuck them. You just got indicted. You just did
No.
57 months for fucking weed that's legal right now
So
in
listen,
half
some
the
some
country.
companies might not, agree with me. Maybe some companies don't operate like that. But if the feds are trying to build a case on somebody and they know that they are renting cars from that company, I promise you the feds will come to that company and say, "Wire this fucking car."
Wow. That's
Because
crazy, man.
they do whatever it takes to win. You know that.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
Jesus.
yeah, man. So, that was 2015. 2016, I got the news that my best friend and my partner, my connect, was shot and killed in Boca Raton outside his girlfriend's house. So That was
I'm
rough.
not gonna ask you who killed him, but was he
E
killed because of all this, or
So it was nobody really knows, but because I was so familiar with, the people in the street, I had a pretty good idea of what happened. And, well, we can look at the news article side of things. They said it was a robbery gone bad, right? 2 kids
yeah, I don't know
trying
what
to
that
rob a
means.
pound of weed,
Yeah.
and eventually they struggled over the gun, and one shot went off, hit him in the chest. So,
I find that hard to believe. I don't know.
now
I
when
mean,
I
you know better than me with this,
yeah.
but I mean, sounds good, but
Now when I dig
I'm
a
not
little
believing it.
deeper, I knew that he had gotten into some issues with some people about, somebody stealing something from him. Things went sour, and, one person decided to, take action into his own hands. So, just rumors though. I have no proof. They did arrest 2 guys for the shooting. So,
So it's not you saying this; it's me. But just I don't want you to say it. Just I'll say it. I would think that I don't think that somebody's going to kill somebody over a pound. I would think that that person probably was maybe possibly going to incriminate somebody that you probably don't want to incriminate, and they got rid of them.
it was just a struggle over power. It
Okay.
it had nothing to do, my partner was robbed for a lot of money
Hmm.
when I left, and, by somebody, a couple kids scheming, and, words were exchanged, very serious threats were exchanged back and forth. So really it was just a matter of
Like an east and
who
west
who eats
type of
who,
war. Yeah, who eats who? Right, right. Yeah,
So that's what it came down to.
yeah.
And then the kid who I think is responsible eventually caught a triple homicide charge
Oof. No, thank you.
8 months later.
Jesus.
So with that in my mind is because you got away with one murder, now you're confident enough to try and do more.
Right.
That's how I started putting it all together. So he was my best friend since I was 11 years old, and my partner since 14. And he passed away. And then when I got home in
Well,
September
first
of
you get hit with the 57 months, right?
right, right.
And
Yep.
then where do they put you at?
So I was fighting my case in Miami FDC. I
Mm.
took my plea in Miami FDC. Then they sent
Now,
me
Vinny,
to
why didn't they give you bail? You're not like a
uh
flight risk. I
yeah, they
mean,
just thought that I was because of all the information the informant gave him, they just thought that I was
they
a
thought you
menace
were
to
a
society.
threat to society, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I can't believe they didn't give you bail on a weed charge, but
Yeah,
wow,
well, it was also in term for them to try and, get the cooperation side of things.
I get it.
But to
Yeah.
be honest, after a certain amount of time, they lost interest in it anyway. They really didn't even care who I was getting what from, because you know, it's like it's weed, man.
Yeah.
By the time I got home, shit changed so much to the point where it was like,
Now, before we get into like what happened after that,
yeah,
when you're looking at it now and you got you got 57 months.
yeah.
Now, how do you feel now that you got 57 months and they're legalizing it left and right? I mean, I understand like things change, but I mean that's gotta just
Like I said
suck.
before in the beginning of our interview, man, I mean, like, I blame myself for everything. I don't ever shift the blame. If I was doing something wrong, then I was doing something wrong and I got caught and I got picked up. It's not federally legal anywhere, you know?
You know what you just said is a real man. I mean that's a real man because at the
Yeah.
time you knew it was illegal. It doesn't matter what's going on now. At the time you knew. You know what I
Doesn't
mean?
it doesn't matter,
And
man.
I give you gratitude for that because it doesn't matter what's going on now. It's at the time it wasn't like it is now, and you accept responsibility. And Vinny, I mean, listen, not many people do that.
No.
I've had 50 guys in there,
Yeah.
and I can probably count on my two hands how many people talk like you.
You got to just look at it like from a much much bigger picture. If I was home and didn't get indicted, I would have been right there next to him, in a shootout in the street in Boca Raton, because I knew the 2 kids that did it. So it's like, maybe I would have been the guy to go, handle that 1 pound deal or whatever the case may be. So you always gotta stay optimistic and look at the brighter side of things always. So because I got picked up, yeah, whatever. I mean, where was it really going? Because I didn't have the mentality to invest any money and do anything with it anyway.
You blow it all.
I
Yeah.
make 50 grand a week, bro. I'm blowing
What are you
30 of it.
what are you blowing 30 on?
Dude, I had insane, rings and chains and,
Jewelry?
yeah.
Nah, that would kill you.
But it's just the
Yeah.
life though,
I know,
going
I know.
just
I
I
know.
used to just stay in hotels for no reason.
Yeah.
Just like travel and just like go spend $1,500 a night on a room for like 3 nights for
Yeah.
no reason. And by the time it's $6,000, $7,000 out of your pocket
Is
in
it
one
isn't it
day.
funny sometimes you go I did it too back in the day, right? You go drop that 1,500 and you go to the room and you're like, "Look, I'm at this place or that place." And you just drop 1,500, maybe 2 grand.
Yeah.
By the time you get there, it's midnight, right? Maybe 1, and you get in there and you're like, "This really isn't that great."
I cringe when I spend $1,500 now, man.
But I mean, looking
No
back,
matter how
right?
much money I have now, I cringe, because I told myself I'm just not gonna, you know, if I get to where I'm going at a slow pace, right, then I'm okay. I can spend money here and there. But, if I'm living a short term business with making 60 grand a week, like to a 22, 23-year-old kid, it's like, okay, you know what? I can just blow all this shit because I'm gonna make it next week, right? Now you obviously understand the concept of money, and it takes a lot to make. Once I make $50,000 a week now,
Yeah.
you spend it differently, and it's just
No, I understand, but
yeah,
look at like I bring up the hotel thing again because I remember I used to do the same thing. I would get these crazy, and they were not worth $1,500 a night. But you just wanted to have in your mind, I stayed here, right?
it's like I was going to Club
We're
Live
narcissistic
and
assholes, is what we
yeah,
are. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
I just can't fight it. I am who I am. And going to I don't even really I was a weed smoker. I didn't even like to drink really back
Yeah,
then. But I just had to go to the club and had to get bottles of Cristal and I had to pay for all my friends. It wasn't just like New Year's Eve I'm dropping $13,000 and I only got like 5 guys with me. And it like doesn't make any
I
sense.
ask everybody this that says this. You know what I mean? So I don't mean to repeat, but all those people that you helped out, how many were there with them when everything went down?
Yeah.
How many of those people that you paid for that you helped out were there? I might as well just put this on record and
Y-
just
uh,
hit a button and I
All
don't have to
right.
talk.
So the list, I mean, goes, like probably 4 pages.
Of who was there when you
No,
what
of who I took care of.
that's what I'm saying.
But when I was actually sitting in there looking for phone calls and emails and
Can you
stuff,
fill up that page?
I couldn't even fill up probably 4 lines, man.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
probably 4 guys,
Yeah.
and a couple of my girlfriends that I still talk to this day. One I'm actually dating now.
I'm gonna give you
Um,
my opinion. Of those 4 people,
mhm.
2 of the 4 probably thought, well, I'm gonna stay in touch with him because I know he's gonna make it again. So I would narrow that down to
No,
2. That's just my opinion.
one of the 3 people I can say
Yeah.
is, but the other 3, one never lived that life, never asked me for anything. The other 2 have just been my loyal friends since day one.
You're a lucky guy then.
You
If
know,
if that's true, you're lucky.
when I
You're
call
lucky,
them, they
Vinny.
pick up. When I needed money, they put it on my books.
Yeah.
So
You're much luckier than others because I've had every
definitely.
nook and cranny in here, and if you got 3,
And I
I
had
mean,
family
it's
support,
better
strong
than a
family
lot of,
support.
and that's great too.
My mom drove to Miami every other week, man, when I
Great
got
woman,
back.
great woman.
So it was a rough journey, but
So now you get to 57 months. You
yep,
do all that.
yep.
Now, obviously, I know you, right? Now, when I talk to you again, you got back into the car rental business. Now, what in that? What
No. Uh,
okay, all right, maybe I'm wrong. I
well, one of
I thought
my
you were renting cars again.
no. So one of my buddies started a car rental business, a local one. And, I was just I'm hungry when I get out. I'm looking for any opportunity to make money, and that's something that I know, right? Especially because I'm not living the life anymore. It's easy for me to like call guys and say, "Hey, my buddy's got cars," and try and make some money. But that didn't last long. Not at all. It's too much brain damage and headache, and I just didn't even want to deal with it.
How bad was the 57 months? Did you get moved around a lot, or
Yeah,
you?
so I did a year and some change in the panhandle of Florida, Mariana. And then I came.
Isn't that Chicago?
No,
Shit,
it's a
I don't know.
small little town in Panhandle of Florida.
Okay.
So I did some time there because I was considered medium security. Yeah, which is crazy for my first. It's because age. I was
They
young
put you in a medium.
and medium high. Yeah, medium high.
And for
Mariana
people who
is.
don't know, medium is a cell. You're in a cell.
Yeah.
Shit.
So
Wow.
yeah, went to a medium, and then I came back down to Miami to finish my time in a low security part of the building, which
Okay.
was maximum security. You don't even see sunlight. When I got home, I was like, you could see right through me. I was so pale,
Wow.
and it was just like miserable time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the beginning was the worst time because I didn't know how much time I was going to get because they didn't let me go home to fight my case. So I'm fighting my case from in there, which
Yeah.
took 9 months to get sentenced, which was like miserable sitting there for 9 months, not knowing like, well, I could get 4 years, I could get 2 years, I could get probation, I could get,
Now, did you have
you
a
know,
paid lawyer or a public defender?
I paid a lawyer. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was most of the money was towards him.
Yeah.
That's why I had really nothing left.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Well, I mean, it seems like you're on the right track at the moment.
it is.
I hope that you take your intelligence and, as I told you before, watch Donnie Brasco,
Mhm.
watch The Bronx Tale,
Okay, I got it.
because the, the the biggest thing you can take from that is wasted talent. And Vinny, you're an intelligent guy,
I appreciate it.
and
Thank you, bud.
I don't care. Who sees this. I mean, you are.
Yeah.
I know you, and you are.
I believe
Um,
that I have the intelligence. I might have put it towards the wrong business. Some people may think that I didn't. Some people may think that I did. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But,
don't worry about nobody else.
one thing's for sure, I know how to make money. And maybe I did it the wrong way. That's okay. Some people agree, some people disagree. But when it comes down to it, if I put the same energy that I did when I was 20, 21, 22, 23 into something that I actually believe in and really want to pursue, I'm going to win no matter
Okay, I'm
what.
gonna ask you a question that's gonna make you uncomfortable. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I know your intelligence,
Mhm.
right? And I know you have the drive
Right.
because you were the niche with the marijuana, right? If it's not for you, this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So my question to you is this: why haven't you applied that? Why? And
I,
don't give me a stupid answer
I'm going to
because
tell you
I know
why.
you're gonna tell me something
I'll
stupid. So
tell,
don't tell me something stupid.
I'm going to tell you why without it sounding like an excuse.
There's no excuse. Who gives a fuck?
Okay. So I basically, when I got out, I had this vision when I was in there that I'm not going to be a bum when I got out. Right. So I took on a lot of obligations that I didn't even really have money for. Right. My cousin owned a penthouse in Las Olas and Fort Lauderdale. I knew I couldn't afford. Right. But I was like, I want to live in a penthouse when I get out. You know, went into the penthouse, $2,000 a month. I have nothing, by the way. Uh, I want a nice car. I went, financed a 2020 Nissan Altima. I took on more bills than I actually had money for. So I feel like me just taking a job to pay for these now, right, was what I needed and what I needed desperately. Or I wasn't going to obtain the dream in the life that I wanted to live.
But why didn't you put the energy in? Like, okay, so like when you started the weed thing, you were nothing. You played soccer. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're nothing, empty.
yeah,
You were trying to help your mother, your father, and so on.
yeah,
Now you don't want to be a bum. So now you take on all these obligations that you can't handle.
yeah.
So my question to you as a man, right?
Yeah,
And you can
yeah.
click this off if you don't want to hear this,
No,
but
no, no.
but
We're good.
no, I'm saying somebody's watching because I'm drilling you. But I'm drilling you because this guy's my
It,
friend.
it's okay. I
So,
can take
but
it.
I want the answer. You know what I mean? Because people around here are like, oh yeah, Vinny, you're good looking. Oh, Vinny, you're skinny, Vinny. Blah blah blah. So now, you had the drive to do that in the
Hmm.
beginning.
Hmm.
So why not have the drive to do that now? So you take on 30 different things that you can't afford, number one. Number two, you mentally can't handle. Number three, you can't emotionally handle,
All right.
but you have the ability. Okay. So I'm asking you, I understand you don't want to be a bum, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that was like the
Now I'm going to
biggest
tell you what
fear
I think.
I had when I got home.
My thinking is this is that you have it in you, but your ego is here. And it's not your ego. I think that deep down you have a little bit of insecurity. So you need to live on this level. And because you lived on that level at one time, now you're not on that level. You just got out of jail. You did 57 months. You did whatever else you did. So now you're trying to race to that level, go to the penthouse that you can't afford, do this, do that.
Yeah.
Why not just sit at home, get ramen noodles, and let things take time? Because if you do that, Vinny, if you do that, and
Well, I,
again,
I did that in the penthouse.
okay, but you can't be in a penthouse and then you get out and you owe money.
Yeah,
You know what I
well,
mean?
I did eat ramen and ham and cheese sandwiches in the
Well, you
penthouse.
didn't do it long enough.
No, I guess
Okay.
you're right.
And I'm saying
But
this to you as a friend. If I didn't know
I
you, I
know,
wouldn't say this to
of course.
you. But rethink that. And it might suck. It might suck, but you have the intelligence. You did it once.
Yeah,
Okay. It's illegal. Okay, who cares? The illegal business applies to any other business.
I agree.
Okay. And I could show you 20 videos that I haven't put out, and every guy that made millions and millions of dollars that now I've gone legal.
Hmm.
Matt Cox, John Boziak. I mean, I can go on and on and on. They all apply what they did illegally to legal because it's the
Of
same
course.
shit. The difference is it takes a lot longer.
Yeah, and I'm willing to endure the challenge and the struggle too. I'm just trying to find, I guess, the perfect niche again. And I think I found it. I stay quiet about it because, a lot of people, when you chase after dreams, they think it's crazy. So I think I just stay quiet about my dreams until I'm able to make it happen. So, yes, I am working a regular job with, bills and expenses, but, don't underestimate that I got the plan up my sleeve because
So I
I
like
do.
that. I like that.
I do.
There's the Vinny that I know.
Yeah,
There's the Vinny that I know.
I
You
have the
know,
plan up my sleeve.
good. I hope you do. I
Whether
hope you
it's
do.
gonna work or not, I don't know, but I'm gonna go for it.
Stop
So,
doubting yourself.
yeah,
If you have doubt, throw it away.
that's very true too.
Winners and losers, man. I want to
Winners
ask
and
you one more question
losers.
before we end this, right?
All right, go ahead.
And this goes way back, right? And I asked this to a couple other people. Again, I should just record what the fuck I say and I can play it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, we played soccer, we played football, we played all this shit.
Yeah.
What do you think about these people giving trophies to everybody?
You can't give trophy to a loser,
It's
man.
fucking crazy. I agree with you, man.
You can't. If you don't come in first, you're last.
But they want everything to be even. It's crazy.
Well, nothing's even, man.
I agree
We
with
got
you.
99% and 1%. What is even about that? There's nothing even.
Well,
Giving a trophy
well,
to a second place guy, he's not going to work hard enough for
look,
first.
the guy that doesn't even know what day it is might win, and that's not even. You know. All right, Vinny. Thank you for your time.
Tommy gun.
You better come back.
Thank you, man.
You're gonna come back. I'm not gonna shake your
Of
after you come
course I'm
back.
going to come back.
I'm gonna see
I
you in a
got
little
more
bit, Vinny.
stories.
All right, yeah, we're gonna go into more. All right.
All right,
All
man.
right. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time, brother.
Thank you, guys.
What's your last name, Vinny?
Banner.
Banner.
Yep.
You wouldn't believe that it's Banner, but it's Vinny Banner.
Vinny Banner signing out.
Well, what's your Instagram?
Exotic Logic.
Exotic Logic.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
What's your Facebook?
I don't have a Facebook.
Fuck Facebook.
Fucking Facebook.
My man.
Come on.
All right,
now.
Vinny. Give me another one.
Thank you, Tommy
All right,
Gunn.
brother.
I appreciate
Thank
it,
you,
man.
my man. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
your time.